I think, yes. There we go. I started a live stream on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, gotta love the tweets. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Source Material. I think this is episode 130 something. 130 something.
It's definitely something.
And this evening, we're just going to bring a real quick episode to you here. We're recording live via YouTube. My good buddy Ronnie Adams has joined me this evening. How you doing, buddy?
Word. I'm doing well. How are you?
Word up. That takes you back to the 90s, and that's where we're heading.
Word up.
1992. And so what I did earlier, I think it was yesterday, of course, last minute, asked Ronnie Adams, you want to do a podcast? And of course, he agrees. I said, Ronnie Adams, give us a single issue. Let's do something. And you presented a few choices, and they were what ifs again, which I'm pleasantly. Let's try that again. I am excited to do a what if anytime.
Yeah.
And we decided to do this one. This one. Venom. What if? Man, I don't know how many. We're only like 2 minutes into the podcast. I've lost all train of thought.
Can't put you're struggling right now, and I don't know why.
I don't know what the deal is.
I'm the one that's out of practice.
Well, me and you haven't had a podcast in 2 weeks together?
Yeah, man. I feel like I've
been a while.
Missed out on a lot. Yeah,
it's been a while, but yeah, we are definitely putting out something this Monday on the 25th of September. By the way, celebrating 3 years of Source Material. As of the 22nd, I want to say it was 22nd of September. Mm-hmm. So that is quite the accomplishment in my eyes. 3 years going, we've
absolutely.
We've done pretty well.
Screaming Boy has been around for 3 years as well.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, in practice, probably about 1.5 2 years, which is sad, but still fun nonetheless. But
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, I think I've done at least a podcast every 2 weeks. I know there for a while. I think I took a back seat and just kind of did it once every 2 weeks, and then Mark Radlich says, "Hey, I've got to have something. We got to do it weekly. All right." They call me the schedule. Mark,
he
the
said
schedule.
No. I work like a government mule on this stuff, so everybody else will too.
That's right. But yeah, so tonight we're going to just again bring you a quick episode.
Mule. Who
here.
am I, Jim Ross?
Jim Ross. That man has a family.
That man has a family. Somebody stop the match.
Somebody stop the damn match. So tonight we are going to do What If, issue number 44. What if Venom had possessed the Punisher? Punisher's been on the lips of a lot of people here lately.
Oh my gosh, that's if you haven't seen it, I shared it on the Screaming Boy Facebook page, and I know that you shared it and watched it. The new Punisher. What's it called? Trailer. Netflix. Holy crap! You can't ask for just a better trailer than that. It was incredible. I don't. Whoever thought of that was brilliant.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude, that had me excited, and I cannot wait until. When's that supposed to air? Is that November?
Lord. I think it's November.
See, I'm pulling stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head, but well, I'm excited. All I know is I just, I have to temper my excitement for fear of being let down. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that trailer looked magnificent. Just set to Metallica's the one or one.
I'm really different. I have a different opinion than a lot of people on the Defenders. I really enjoyed it, and it was one of those. It had a really cool trailer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a huge Nirvana fan, but man, using "Come as You Are" was for that whole thing is great. And then they use Metallica for Punisher, and it just looks super violent, which is what the Punisher is.
That's what it's all about.
And the fact that that guttural scream that he has when he's got that light machine gun and is going to town.
Oh yeah,
it's just I mean, I never thought, and when I first saw John Bernthal in Walking Dead,
yeah.
I didn't know him before that, and I never thought, oh, he'd make a good Frank Castle. And then when he came about as Frank Castle in Daredevil, I was like, I don't know. But he had that whole rooftop scene where he had Daredevil tied up.
Mm-hmm.
That came out of Welcome Back, Frank, I believe it was, wasn't it?
I don't know if it
no.
came out of that, because I remember me and Ben Cologne talking about that, and we were talking about some Garth Ennis books, if I remember correctly. Garth Ennis and whoever his artist is, I can't remember. Can't remember the artist. The artist that most recently passed away.
I can't remember his name, but he worked with Garth Ennis a lot on Preacher, on Punisher, and he was a phenomenal artist. And he just had his own style. And for the life of me, for some reason, I can't remember his name, but we honored him on Screaming Boy. But I'm
going to get it here in just a second. How had to Steve Dillon.
Steve Dillon.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, why can't I remember that? But Steve Dillon did a lot of work with Garth Ennis on Punisher, and it was some of my favorite, storylines, that they worked on together. So, but that he did that scene with Garth Ennis. So just the fact that, man, gosh, they got that scene just right. It was crazy.
I agree, dude. So this iteration of the Punisher, we're going back to 1992. So the Punisher had been around, I think, since the late 70s, and he started catching fire. I would say definitely in the late 80s, mid 80s to late 80s, and was a pretty strong character all the way through the 90s as well. Still is, but definitely. I mean, I can remember, this is my heyday of collecting comic books, was the early 90s, and catching up on all the characters that Marvel had at that point in time. Another character that was very, very popular at the time was Venom. So, bringing the Punisher and Venom together, this had not been done in the books, and it was I just say it was a pretty dang good concept.
Yeah, absolutely, because they both have the same kind of. They both do the same. Have the same kind of. What's the word I'm looking for?
Mentality.
Mentality. They just kill them. If they're no a wrongdoer. I mean, because no mercy. There we go. Same philosophy.
There you go.
But believe it or not, I mean, Venom for a while there was supposed to be an anti-hero, but it was the same thing as the Punisher when he had his own series. It was Venom #1, and it went on for a little while. And they did the whole symbiote. He had different symbiotes and all that were taken from him, not just Carnage, but they had a bunch of different things, different kinds, females, symbiotes, and all that. He was a protector of the innocent. So if he saw a purse snatcher, it wasn't just a beat him up kind of thing. It was eat their face and
Venom,
kill them because they were breaking the law.
I remember the title of, I don't know if this was the title of the first issues or if this was a miniseries, but there was Venom Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
And then there was Venom and Punisher Funeral Pyre. I recall that was a little mini series that they did.
I think one I was talking about was not a mini series, but it was a limited series, and it was Lethal Protector.
Okay. So yeah. Again, you're right on the nose there. Same philosophy, no mercy. They would take out. They would take out. Venom had that when Eddie Brock was the host for Venom. He had that killer. I would say he wanted to take out Spider-Man. He had this obsession. That's the word.
Yeah.
He had this obsession with taking out Spider-Man. And then when finally those two had it out for the final time, Venom went his separate ways, and Venom and Eddie Brock went the separate ways. Well, let's try that again. Venom as Eddie Brock went their separate ways from Spider-Man, and then he became somewhat of a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just like you said, mirrors the Punisher almost here. Mm-hmm. So now we get the symbiote potentially, in this story, we get a story where the symbiote hops onto the Punisher, hops onto Frank Castle. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that story tonight. This, like I said, this came out in 1992. I wanted to give our listeners an idea of when Venom was created. Venom was created in his full first appearance was Amazing Spider-Man number 300. All right, May of 1988. Okay, so that's when Venom first appeared, and we're talking a story here that's about 4 years after Venom made his first appearance. The creative team on this book, we have Kurt Busiek, who is a very popular comic book writer. I think he does Astro City. Have you ever heard of Astro City?
I have, but I've not read it.
Yeah, I'm going to hop over to. I'm going to hop over. I've heard it's really good. I'm hopping over right now. As everybody can see, I'm on the wiki right now. Let's take a look at some of the books he's done. Astro City, there it is, 1 through 6. So, other things that he's had his hand in, he's done his first professional work, backup story in Green Lantern 162, March of 1983. He also, it says, after writing 4 fill-in issues of Power Man and Iron Fist, he was given the series as his first regular assignment. In 1993, a year after this, Busiek and artist Alex Ross produced the Marvels limited series. He also had a hand in creating the Thunderbolts, a group of supervillains disguised as superheroes. I think, were you a fan of that book, the Thunderbolts, or was that Calandris?
I like the concept of it.
Yeah,
read a whole lot of it.
Okay, this was the evildoers that were trying to be good, or were, well, it says a group of supervillains disguised as superheroes. So anyway, same here. I haven't read much of that. Now let's talk about the artist of this issue, because I think he is more the outlier here, the guy that we've never heard of. I don't know if you have, but I'm going to hedge my bets and say that you've never have. The artist of this issue is a Luke McDonnell. All right. Okay. So Luke doesn't have much of a resume when it comes to comics. There's a few things that he's done. I mean, they mention off some big titles. Well, they say a long run on Iron Man. So, okay. In 1983, McDonnell and writer Dennis O'Neil began a storyline in which the character James Rhodes replaced Tony Stark in the role of Iron Man. So that's kind of a popular storyline. So maybe I'm wrong here, but I can tell you this much: in 1995, he kind of just drops off the face of the earth. He doesn't do anything hardly at all related with comics. Therefore, there afterwards, still alive and everything, but you didn't see too much of him. So that brings us to our next topic, Ronnie Adams. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We've talked about the creative team. I want to specifically talk about the art. Okay.
Okay.
Let's just talk about the art of the cover. And anybody who's watching right now can see the cover of, nope, that was not the cover. The cover of the issue here, which is issue 44. And we've got Venom on the front of it, Spider-Man and Daredevil in the back. Now, before I start griping about the cover, sir, is there anything on there that you'd like to talk about?
I kind of just want to hear you gripe about it.
Okay, here we go. All right, let's just. I don't know if the man has a problem with perspectives, or if he just has problems drawing things all together. I know the interior art of this book is not that bad.
It's not bad.
It's not. I mean, it's not bad. But when you look at the cover, I remember getting this issue of What If, my physical copy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world is going on with Venom here?
Venom looks like he's like a G.I. Joe figure holding guns.
He does, doesn't he? I mean, it's like, what?
They're all pointed weird.
The Punisher knows how to hold a gun. All right. And this is supposedly the symbiote. Now, who in the world? First off, he's got one gun pointing one way. His left hand. His left hand is pointing toward the right. Okay, and shooting towards the right. His right hand is, just like you said, barely holding on to like the gun somehow. Like somebody had to force the gun into his hand. And I don't even know if that's supposed to be. That's a weird looking pistol. I can tell you that much. But
that's supposed to be a Beretta, I think, in his left hand, and an
is
Uzi
there? Okay, I can see the
right
Beretta.
Hand.
Oh, that's an Uzi, huh?
It's trying to be.
It's trying because it kind of like folds into his suit.
Yeah,
and like where's the butt end of the gun?
And it's firing, but he's obviously not pulling the trigger.
He's not even. I don't know.
He's definitely G.I. Joe in it.
And now, not only that, but let's talk about the way this guy is standing, the way Venom Punisher is standing, to where his crotch is apparently a mile wide. That's amazing.
Where does he buy pants? I mean,
so he's standing with his legs spread. I mean, clearly they're spread, but and
dude's obviously buff, but he's got like a 50-inch waist.
Yeah. Dude, yes. Yes, there is no waist. It like immediately goes from his legs to his stomach, almost like his legs to his ribs.
Yeah, His his abs go into his crotch area.
Yeah,
right into his thighs, and that's you can't do that. That's not
it
right.
Just looks weird. It just looks weird. It's not. Yeah. I don't know. I'd say this is really bad art for a cover. Close to probably some of the worst art I've seen that we've covered on this show. There's been some bad art we've talked about.
And we've read a lot of 90s books and Rob Liefeld books.
That's the truth. And so we're looking at, so that's my only gripe. I mean, the cover looks really, really bad. I assume it's McDonald that did this. I'm looking over there on the left-hand side, and it's got his little signature right there. That looks like an L and an M. So anyway, just awkward looking cover. So I was worried about the interior art, but as we find out, it's not that bad. I don't think it's near as bad as the cover is. So, all right. Well, before we proceed, I'll ask you, sir, do you have anything you want to say before we get into the story?
No, I'm pretty excited about it.
All right. So Frank Castle's hanging out at a church. And now this is where I think originally Eddie Brock was supposed to be. Am I right?
Yes. He was supposed to be, Eddie Brock was supposed to be there. But I guess, that's when, Spider-Man went to the church, to the bells.
Okay.
To rid himself of the symbiote.
Okay.
The sound.
And the symbiote falls through the floor or whatever, and then finds, instead of an Eddie Brock, it finds Frank Castle, who was visiting the church at that time, who is wrapped up into the symbiote. And it's not violent or anything. I mean, it's like he almost handles it pretty well. The only thing he has to do is go and grab some air shortly there afterwards. But at this time, we watch Venom, the symbiote, attach itself to Frank Castle. Okay. Now, Frank handles this I don't know. It's not an attack. He doesn't handle it as an attack, but he handles it like, okay, what is this thing doing to me? How can I use it? And he starts to realize how the suit can be used as a weapon. One of the neat things that I thought of in here that they showed was how, right there's a great picture of, the Punisher on the top. Now he's holding a gun correctly. But yeah, he's on top of a building here. Punisher with the Venom symbiote attached, and he's going out and he's, going to rid the world of crime. So here we have the Punisher, who is he's a military man, and he starts to realize that the suit can be used as a weapon. But again, one of the things he also mentioned here was his first target. He actually approaches right on the street, and he's completely camouflaged as another person. So I didn't know that the suit could do that. Which was pretty interesting. I mean, he looks like a gray-haired, mustached businessman, and apparently that's the suit's doing. So he's able to sneak up on this like Wall Street criminal, takes him out in front of his buddies. His buddies all grab their guns, and instead of using the the symbiote tentacles or whatever, I don't know what you would call that. I assume tentacles or
tendrils.
Tendrils. There we go. Instead of using the tendrils to take out his buddies, all of a sudden Frank Castle gets a brilliant idea. Why don't we have the most ridiculous moment in comic book history? And the Venom symbiote...
I wouldn't say most ridiculous, but it's up there.
The Venom symbiote is able to generate a working firearm from his arm. Yeah, that's ironic.
Right.
Firearm from his arm. Go ahead.
He says, why don't I see if I can make a gun? And everybody says, that's brilliant. So he tries to make a gun, and he does. He succeeds. And now, reading any Carnage storyline, you know that the symbiotes can create projectiles. So they do create, some sort of let's see, Carnage created like these diamond kind of shaped projectiles, and
I got you.
Yeah. So it's not unheard of that, it would be a projectile based attack, but to make the gun noises
and a little what appears to be a fire burst come out the end.
Right. Now, all I have to say is what?
Yeah. What? Yeah, I had issues right there. I was like, no, that is... To me, that's not how the suits ever worked. What you're talking about there with the projectiles, I envision as knives, or something similar to that. Yeah. Shurikens, where he's tossing them out there and they're on to impale somebody. But now, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe the way the suit is it, draws power off of the mind. Now, I know later in the book they talk about how the suit has drawn so much off of Frank Castle and he thinks it's possibly because of the venom bullets that are being shot out. Like it takes a lot from the suit. The suit has to draw something from the Punisher in order to get that power to do that. But still, it's just like I envision it just like T2. Where the Terminator 1000 was only able to produce knifed weapons or things of that nature. He wasn't able to. He is not able to disguise himself as something and explode, or he's not able to use something that has that capability. He's only able to use it in some type of bladed form, some type of malleable metal form. That's the way I always envisioned the suit. So,
well, that's kind of what they went with Agent Venom.
Okay.
When Flash Thompson, lost both of his legs in Iraq, came back, and he bonded with the Venom symbiote, and he actually was the only one in outside of What If storylines was able to control the Venom symbiote. So the Venom symbiote, he became Agent Venom and worked for the government, worked for Shield or whoever. Whenever he had the symbiote, it gave him legs, and he had all the powers of the symbiote, but he also had a lot of guns. So he was always on edge of whether he was going to lose it and give over to the symbiote or not.
Oh yeah, I got you.
So it doesn't really work like that. This one, of course, was in the 90s, so everything was, extreme or spelled with an X or anything like that. Not really, but this is probably early 90s. But so it was one of those things where, like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where, well, we have to make it more Punisher-like, so give him guns.
Yeah.
Well, where's the gunpowder coming from? Why is the symbiote exploding? Why can't he just, launch, I don't know. It was ridiculous.
Here's what should have been done. And that would have been like, he have like 5 or 6 guns on him, and like the suit like brings them up to his arm.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely
fires it from his arm instead of him actually having to hold the gun. It just brings it up there and then fires, which to me would seem to be easily believable.
Right.
But yeah. So I just remember sitting there thinking, okay, I've got to go back and read this. Surely they're not making that thing actually fire bullets.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yep. Butter.
Just like butter? No. Not a knife like butter? No.
No. Apparently, that's that's the sound that
Venom bullets make?
Machine guns make. Butter. Smoke blowing out of it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I see that, dude. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, where's this smoke coming
Absolutely.
from? I didn't like it. But
from the gun, obviously.
Can we just talk real quick about how cool the Punisher symbol looks infused with the Venom spider?
Yes.
Dude.
I mean, it's incredible.
I've always been a fan of the black costume Spider-Man.
Oh, I have too.
And Venom as well. Venom's a really cool looking character when you look at him. And putting that symbol, that skull symbol on Venom's chest, it was just like, there has got to be, what I would love to see, dude, I guarantee you we could find it right now if we wanted. Somebody had to have cosplayed as this.
Oh, I'm sure, because, gosh, there were so many cosplays. I was just at a con in Greensboro, the Greensboro Comic-Con, and there was so many crossovers and different things like that. It was ridiculous. Somebody did an Overwatch character. I think it was Diva from Overwatch, mixed with Harley Quinn.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, I was like, that's odd, but
it works.
It works, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. Well, okay. Back to the story. So the Punisher has taken care of these evil Wall Street criminals, took them out, and all his buddies. So the Punisher's been, enacting his vengeance, his vengeful war on crime throughout New York. It's also drawn the attention of one black costume Spider-Man. So Spider-Man's apparently still running around in his black costume, and also it's drawn the attention of Daredevil. Now, at some point, you see a moment where Frank goes back home, and he's at his headquarters. Doing this fight and all this stuff with the suit drains him, which I think that happened in the Spider-Man comics as well. Spider-Man felt physically drained usually after using the suit for quite a while. So he goes home, and he's fast asleep. The symbiote is not. Microchip, I believe it's Microchip who comes in and talks to him about something stupid. Or it's something to do with, whatever he was researching. I think it was about the suit, actually. And the suit then takes over Frank Castle as he's asleep, gets up and smashes Microchip's head into the wall. It doesn't kill him, but it, just boom, right into the wall, and then takes off out into the night. So we don't know if Frank Castle's aware of what's going on. We do know that he fell asleep prior to this happening. And while he's out and about, Venom is confronted by Spider-Man. They get into a fight. Spider-Man is way outmatched. Now, one of the things I'd forgot all about was the fact that the symbiote had an advantage over Spider-Man in that Spider-Man's his spider sense wouldn't work with the symbiote. I forgot all about that. But yeah, so Punisher Venom is able to easily outmatch Spider-Man, whoops him to where he's about to kill him almost, and that's when the Punisher inside Frank Castle inside the suit kind of wakes up and says, "No, wait a second, I can't be doing this. I can't do this. This is just a kid." He knew who it was, he didn't want to. He knew Spider-Man was a friend, a hero, not an evildoer, and he's able to stop the suit from killing Spider-Man. Spider-Man has to figure out a way to beat this thing. He knows he's completely outmatched, so he decides to go back to the Fantastic Four, who have assisted him in the past on trying to get rid of the symbiote. Now, this is after Spider-Man thought the symbiote was dead. Now he realizes, oh, crap, yeah, it's still alive. Well, he goes back to the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is a different Fantastic Four here, by the way. It's
this is a different, this is one of those weird...
It's like reading, it's a weird iteration of the Fantastic Four where I think Sue and Reed are gone.
Yeah, it's Thing, Johnny, Crystal, and Miss Thing or whatever, she Thing.
Who was that? That wasn't Alicia Masters, was it?
No.
Well, let's go
remember.
Let's go to the wiki. We're doing it right now. Was it She Thing? She Thing, Marvel Wiki.
She Thing.
Sharon Ventura.
Yeah.
There she is. Current alias Miss Marvel. Alias Thing, She Thing. Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't she show up she shows up in Ant-Man too. Scott Lang version of it, I believe. And she and Scott Lang had a thing going on, and she had she helped him, and she had a Thing suit.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken, there was definitely a
That's
girl...
the one we covered?
No.
Okay.
That was Irredeemable Ant-Man.
Oh, you said Scott Lang. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was Eric O'Grady.
Okay.
How would I know that?
We know that because we covered it right here on the Social Material podcast. Sharon Ventura. Okay. So anyway, She Thing. So anyway, he's like, "Hey, I need some help." And Ben Grimm's like, "Well, why don't you use the thingamajigger?" I think he calls it a dingus. It's the sonic gun, pretty much. So here, why don't you take this? That should be able to help you out. Unfortunately, we're on our way to do something. So we're on our way to do something else. So Spider-Man's like, "Okay, well, I'll give it a shot. See what we can do." All right.
Is this the dingus you're looking for?
There you go.
I'm not sure that's what I was looking for at all. A dingus.
I don't recall being called the dingus. So Spider-Man's request to help the Fantastic Four, they kind of assist, but they can't help him physically, but they give him a few weapons to try and use against the symbiote. Now, the Punisher has decided to take his war to the Kingpin. I mean, he's just like, okay, I'm done. After Microchip confronts him, says, "Look what you did, man. You hit me. What's going to happen next?" He kind of has a freak out session because he doesn't know if he's in control anymore. And so what better way to get back into control than just head right back out into the streets as Venom Punisher and take out the Kingpin. And he does so pretty mercilessly as well. I think there's one point where he runs into Tombstone. Within 2 panels, Tombstone's dead. I think he bites his... Is that the one where he just bites his jugular or something?
Yeah.
Maybe it's his head. I mean, I don't know. He bites it. He's dead.
He spits whatever out and it hits the floor saying splat.
You know when you see the little asterisk, somebody died. We have asterisk. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. Oh, done.
Done. Tombstone's done. He makes his way up to the Kingpin's penthouse suite. And up there, he finds Kingpin's most deadliest assassin right now, which is Typhoid Mary, accompanied by one of Kingpin's worst enemies, and that is Daredevil. So these two are going to rumble and take out Punisher and Venom. They're going to take out Punisher Venom. Are we just going to call him Punisher? We'll just call him Punisher from here on.
Yeah, the Punisher.
They're going to take out the Punisher. They fight. The tendrils get a hold of the Kingpin, and I don't know. I don't think it snaps his neck or anything. I think it just goes.
Chokes him.
Is that okay? Chokes him.
That's what I got from it.
Kills him right then and there, right in front of Typhoid Mary.
Shows it going up his nose.
Yeah, dude, that's not good.
Yeah.
Probably did some very bad internal damage and kills the Kingpin.
Tendrils in the nose are never good.
That's right. So he's able to kill the Kingpin and he escapes. Now, all the while, when you're reading this, you start to see in the language that is used by Venom or by Spider-Man, by Punisher.
Somebody
has something. The language that is being used by the Punisher, it tends to become more savage. I noticed at one page he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go fight the Kingpin," and then the next page, the letterer's making sure to kind of write it all scraggly, and he's calling him the Kinpin, and
yeah.
So something's going on there. It seems that the symbiote's starting to get a hold again.
Right.
Now, needing a rest again after this battle he had with Daredevil and Typhoid Mary, he's able to escape, heads over to the one place that for some reason he feels at home at, and that's the bell tower at the church. And awaiting him there are Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Moon Knight. So, I mean, I don't know why Moon Knight's here. I can't remember if they explain why they grabbed Moon Knight, other than he must have been a hot character at the time.
Yeah, it was the 90s. He was pretty.
He was up there.
Yeah.
So these three are going to battle. And we get a fight again, we get this big brawl. And during the brawl, Spider-Man finally is able to fire the sonic gun that he got from the Fantastic Four. And we soon realize that what did work on Spider-Man and Peter Parker is not working on Frank Castle. And yeah, it's kind of hurting the symbiote a little bit, but we realize that Frank Castle and the symbiote are now one. They are completely bonded. So now the only way to potentially stop the Punisher would be to kill him. Now, somewhat sedated, Frank Castle, with the symbiote somewhat sedated, Frank Castle's able to take control again, and he grabs a gun and he shoots the sonic gun out of Spider-Man's hand. Now, our trio of heroes then realize that Frank immediately goes stiff after he does this. I think he shoots it out of Peter Parker's hand or Spider-Man's hand and says, okay, I've got it from here. And then all of a sudden he just goes completely stiff. And as readers, we are treated to the war that is actually going on inside the Punisher's head between himself and the parasitic symbiote. So as they're fighting, the Punisher starts to realize its weaknesses, and the symbiote soon understands that it has to come to an agreement with Frank Castle. Since they're completely bonded, Frank says, look, you do exactly as I say, and I have no issue killing myself in order to kill you. So if you do exactly what as I say, we won't have to go that route. And the symbiote's like, all right. So cool. they come to an agreement. And the symbiote allows Frank Castle to have complete control over what he does. So regaining control, Punisher then looks over at Moon Knight, Daredevil, and Spider-Man and says, now I'm in control now. And the only way that either of those heroes or any of those heroes would be able to stop him would be to kill him. And the Punisher knows better that they would not do so. And off he goes into the night to continue his personal war on crime. All right. So that's our story, man. let's get a few talking points out of the way here. Let me get back to our. Let me go back to my. There we go. So, okay, right off the bat, number one. Let me get that yawn out of the way. Yeah. Okay, Venom abilities. All right. I've already griped about a few on here. I mean, did they take you? Did you feel that there were some good concepts in that, or were there some bad concepts, or was it just totally ridiculous? What do you think about these kind of abilities that Venom, the symbiote, brought for the Punisher? And Ronnie Adams.
You there?
There you go. Okay, you came back in. All right. So, what do you feel? What do you feel about Punisher's use of the abilities of the symbiote here? I mean, do you think some of them are far-reaching? Do you think there's some of them were cool? Some of them were just stupid? What do you think?
Well, I think because the guns were stupid.
Okay.
But the fact that like he used it as for wings and knives on the hands, much like Carnage. Carnage did all those things. He learned how he could fly or glide or whatever with it. It made it a little more savage than Eddie Brock could have ever made it, because the Punisher is a more tactical person, than what we realize. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Of course he is, because he was a soldier.
Yeah.
But he knows how to make certain things work for him. So he is smart enough to know that something like that, a weapon, which is what it is, a weapon like that, he even calls it a machine at one point.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he knows that a weapon like that has more capabilities than what he realizes. So he knows it can make, wings and everything else. So I think, and then you just had Cletus Cassidy, who was insane. So he just wanted, he just knew that it was a killing machine, and it could do far more than just make webbing and be a Spider-Man clone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it takes the user to unlock its full potential, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. I could see that. He, just like you said, had the background, the military background, all that stuff. And once the symbiote gets on him, totally different person compared to Peter Parker.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, almost like night and day, considering Peter Parker was a nerdy teen growing up. And you have a hardcore balls out soldier in the Punisher. So,
and that's what he does. He looks at everything as a weapon, and the possibilities of how can I make this work for me, and how can I make this ends meet, and or how can I make this meet my needs in my war.
Yeah.
So it's like John Wick, the movie John Wick, which is amazing. They said I watched him kill 3 men with a pencil, or kill a man with a pencil in a bar once. And then later on in John Wick 2, he actually kills somebody with a pencil, and they showed how. So everything around him was a weapon. So it's the same thing with the Punisher. He's in sense, a soldier, an assassin, vigilante. So everything around him is a weapon. So once he gets that power, he knows that there's a level of power that he's never, in this symbiote. So he sees it not as a living creature that's looking to feed off of him, or a source of evil or anything like that. He sees it as a weapon. So he's like, well, maybe I could fly. And he sprouts wings and glides away, things like that. So, and then Eddie Brock was just kind of he's Eddie Brock. He didn't really use his brain.
No, he was kind of had a mullet.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Eddie Brock had a mullet, period, on that statement. So he didn't do a whole lot of, thinking of how he could use it. He just knew it would make him stronger and he could mimic Spider-Man with it.
Yeah.
Who
Good
he hated.
answer. Yeah. Yes, he did. Well, okay. Next up, what do you think about Punisher being able to control the symbiote? Pretty believable.
Yeah, absolutely. The man. I mean, look at the war that he's had going on for however many years he's had it going on. He is very calm, cool, and collected, and doesn't really. It takes a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It takes a lot of concentration, confidence, yeah, all that stuff to keep that going and not go insane. Which I mean, he's insane anyway because he's just going around killing people. But he is, but it's not like he's not open a cans of tuna fish and pour them in the bathtub insane.
Okay, what is that from?
I just made it up. It was the craziest thing I could think of at that point. So,
oh, scary reference. That is not a reference after all.
What's it to say about me?
All right, now last topic here, last talking point. You got any idea? I mean, we kind of discussed already. I mean, other than him just being a hot character at the time, Moon Knight.
I don't know. What the heck?
I mean, are we talking Moon Knight because he's street level? Maybe.
Probably.
Okay.
He fits in with all these other guys. Spider-Man, Punisher, Daredevil. He just fits in.
Yeah.
Bring something other than they needed the mystical portion of it. So
yeah. What do you think of the story overall, man?
I liked it. Other than the guns, the symbiote guns, I liked it a lot.
I'd love to see. You know what I would have loved to have seen is this iteration of Punisher like show up in Exiles or something.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
That would have been good stuff.
Well, I mean, even in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
The new Secret Wars where they had the
battle
Punisher,
worlds and stuff all over the place.
Yeah, where they had the Punisher with the
Doctor
Cloak
Strange,
of Levitation, Doctor Strange, and the Eye of Agamotto. They had that going on, but they didn't. They can't give a shout out to Venom Punisher.
No, which is probably one of the coolest combos, especially coming straight from the '90s. I mean, there weren't two hotter characters in the Punisher and Venom in '92. I don't think. I mean,
Let's be honest though. They probably looked at this and said that would be really good, but the guns.
Why did this go wrong? I could just see them at the editors meeting or whatever, and he's like, okay, we're going to go with Venom guns.
Really, guys?
Really? Okay. Well, really? It's what if. That's one thing.
What if?
That's one thing that what if really. To me,
it's what if. I say it's what if.
No, not what ifs.
I was like, all right.
The what if issues. Sometimes you got a neat story and a great concept, but it was executed in the pages not so great. Yeah, and I could say that this was a believable story, other than a few specific parts that we just didn't like. I love the concept of the symbiote actually becoming a little bit. It's a symbiote. It lives with its host and enhances its host. Also draws off the host. But I think that's really a neat concept to its. That symbiote can be molded the way its hosts. Its host psych. Man, what am I trying to say here? Mentality. It's so the way that the host is. Basically,
it takes on the host's personality. Yeah,
man.
Which Brock wasn't the most stable of characters anyway.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was crazy obsessed with Spider-Man, Peter Parker. So the symbiote obviously became obsessed with Spider-Man as well, and it wanted to kill Spider-Man. That's, I mean, shoot, you look at it now, I want to eat your brains kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't, it takes on the personality of the host. So therefore, you've got somebody that's bat crap insane. So it's going to be bat crap insane.
Good discussion, man. I enjoyed the issue. I think it was a good issue to choose. I'm just looking to see what
Cool.
what if issue 45 was here. What if Barbara Ketch had become Ghost Rider?
Who?
Barbara Ketch?
Oh,
Well, I
yeah.
know Danny Ketch. Who's Barbara? His sister?
Sure.
We have no idea.
I don't have a clue. Yeah, I'm not very good at names at times.
It's okay. I don't have any. I've never heard of her. I know who Danny Ketch is.
Yeah.
Well, written by Ron Mars. It's a pretty popular name. All right. Well, let's close this out, man. Let's go ahead. Well, it was a good show. Good show back. Small, tiny show. That's all right. We're gonna.
That's all right.
We'll get this thing together and have this out here, like I said, on Monday. Let's go ahead, get into plugs, and we'll wrap it up, sir. What do you got going on there, man?
Not much right now. We will be back soon. I'm in the midst of getting the computer problems fixed, so it should be not too much longer before we have hangout actual hangout shows and uploading to iTunes again. Once hopefully we can still continue doing whatever with the Radio Legend Broadcasting Network. So that should be coming around soon. Please like us on Facebook. We are also on Twitter. We are also on Instagram and Snapchat. We're a little more active on Snapchat now, unfortunately. But the cool thing is I just went to kind of representing the show. Well, definitely representing the show. Definitely representing the network. Went to the Greensboro Comic Con, which was the very first Greensboro Comic Con. Mm-hmm. And it was for their first con. It was 3 levels. It was the mezzanine when you first walk in, and you got to see the 501st Legion, the Mandalorian Mercs, Superheroes Unlimited, all these amazing cosplayers that with their uniforms and all that going on. So that was really cool. So when you first walk in, you're definitely greeted with that wow factor. So that was a good idea. So, and then upstairs was what I call Artist Alley. And that's where all your comic book artists are and everything. So I actually there got to meet Brian Smith, which is a writer of The Stuff of Legend, which maybe one day you and I can cover on here, which is a great book. And I actually got an autographed omnibus from him. So that was really cool. And then, of course, you had the vendors. The vendors were everywhere. They were selling stuff, 10 books for $5. So I picked up a bunch of Secret Wars #1s, from Battle World and all that, which was, a lot of fun to go back through and read them again. And then, some original G.I. Joe stuff and all that. So we've got a lot of pictures from there on our Instagram and on Twitter. And definitely on our Facebook page. So please check that out. I actually got to be a part of a trivia contest called Nerd Slam, and where I went up against other people. They let you pick out your own. They let you pick out your own topics. So I picked out certain topics: Masters of the Universe, old school WWE, Marvel. They asked me, "What about Marvel?" I was like, "I don't know. What about Marvel?" And they said, "What do you want?" It's a wide. I said, "Anything but the cosmic."
Yes, please.
Yeah, anything but cosmic. I didn't get into the cosmic, and they said, "Okay." I went against a guy who his only thing was Dragon Ball Z Kai. I don't know what that is. I'm not a Dragon Ball fan. So we both got our question right. Mine was about who was He-Man had a sister, She-Ra, who was her arch nemesis, Hordak. It was easy. So they gave us a tiebreaker question, which I actually got right, but they said I got wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and now Nerd Slam, they know their stuff. They asked me what a cartoon, old school cartoon, which had three, uh, three professional athletes, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know this." And I said, "It's Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, and Bo Jackson." He said, "It had Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, and Bo Jackson." I was like, "I just said that in my head." And he said, "What was the name of that cartoon?" And it was he gave three choices: All Stars, something else Stars, and Pro Stars. And immediately when I heard Pro Stars, I was like, "It's Pro Stars. It has to be."
Uh-huh.
So I threw my hand up. The kid saw me throw my hand up, so he kind of tried to do it too. And I got it first. And I said, "It's Pro Stars. I think I'm right. I don't know if I'm right." I said, "But I'm pretty sure it's Pro Stars." And they were like, "I'm sorry, it was All Stars." Well,
Now,
I'm that
okay,
guy.
hold on. All right, because I've been wanting to ask you this since you shared this with me earlier.
Okay.
Okay, so where are they getting their information from?
The internet and their own, they compile their questions beforehand,
Okay,
or they think them up on the spot with tiebreakers and stuff. They
okay,
know their stuff. They do. They really do. So what they do is they sign you up beforehand, and they look at everybody, all the contestants. They look at their topics. So they write the questions from there.
okay,
And so they have preparation time. So it's usually about a 16-person gig. I was there that day with in the middle of 8 people, so it was only an hour block. They called me out on the first on the first round. So being that guy, I don't want to be that guy, but the first prize was 2 tickets to NC Comic Con in Durham, which Rob Liefeld is going to be there. And
nice.
I've got to be there to get him to sign that atrocious Captain America picture. And then my I don't want to be ejected from the con, but if I'm ejected for heckling him over that picture, then it's a it's a good day. But I no, I'm not going there. I don't want to cause trouble or anything, but I do want to sneak that picture and see if he'll sign it.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, but so it was one of those things where I was like, yeah, I got to win this. So that's why I was that guy. And I said, listen, I don't want to be that guy, but I do want to tell you I was right to their assistant or, the person that was watching the crowd and all that.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'll definitely tell them." I said, "Okay." And she goes, "Well, I can't tell them right now." I said, "Oh, because the first round's still going. They'll probably get me in the second round."
Mm-hmm.
And so we played the whole game, and I was left out. She
Oh,
never told
what?
them. Yeah, she never told them. And I was like, "What is happening right now? I should be in this. I should be in this. I could have won this. With the questions that were going on, I could have won this."
Yeah,
And so uh, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of pissed.
I
So
wouldn't blame you.
I gathered my stuff up. I had a book bag there, or well, a backpack, a sling bag, um, a sling bag, and to keep stuff in of any swag or anything I bought. So
Mm-hmm.
I gathered my stuff up, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not even gonna say anything. And she looked at me while she was talking to him, to the host, and the host pointed at me through the crowd, just pointed at me, and said, "Wait," and held his finger up. I said, "Okay, dang, this is intense." So he brought me up and he said, "Listen, I am so sorry about that." He said, "We don't want that to happen ever. We want to know our stuff and we want to know when we're wrong. So we wholeheartedly apologize for that, and we will make it up to you." And I was like, "Oh wow, okay." And so I was like, "Well, the second prize was some graphic novels. I'll probably get some graphic novels out of it, or something, or an invitation into the next Nerd Slam whenever they do it, or whatever."
Yeah.
No big deal, whatever. And I was like, "Well, okay." And so I stood there, and he looked at me and said, "What if I give you a weekend pass to Fayetteville Comic Con, which is a huge con?"
Nice.
Um, and I said, "Yes, that will do just fine." And they made it up to me, man. They really um, they came through.
Awesome.
It Yeah, it was one of those things that was like I wasn't expecting that. And that leaves me free to also still go to the Durham Comic Con because I was going to skip Fayetteville.
Yeah.
because it's like an hour and 45 minutes away or whatever. And I was like, the price of the con, then gas and everything. And I don't know what's going on, but I just found out the Fayetteville con, um, some of the guests there, um, let's see, the guest, Lou Ferrigno,
Ooh.
Sam Jones, and then we've got voice actors all from Dragon Ball, stuff like that. But there's a lot of artists and people like that are going to be there. And I was like, wow, this is really good, And some of the Power Rangers are going to be there. Pat Broderick, Andy Smith, all these writers and Alterna Comics is going to be there.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool stuff that's going to be there. And they told me that since I'm going to be at the Fayetteville Con, I have to be in their Nerd Slam.
Oh, nice.
And it's a 2-day Nerd Slam.
Dang.
Yeah, so I'm there for the entire weekend, and I'm going to be in the Nerd Slam both days. So
wow. That's
going to be
sounds like a blast, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. And a big shout out to Nerd Slam. They really, they didn't have to do that, but man, they made good. So they were really cool.
Good. Well, what else, man? What else? I guess social media.
Social media. Facebook is Screaming Boy Podcast. Twitter is at Screaming Boy PR. And then Instagram is Screaming Boy Podcast. And then I forget what our Twitter or what our Snapchat is. It's something with Screaming Boy in it, I know. But I think Snapchat's the devil, that and I'm down on it. I'm sorry.
All right.
But so we're there. I'm going to do some as long as I've got my computer back, in working order and all that good stuff. I'm going to do from Fayetteville and from Durham. I'm going to do some con recaps.
Nice.
I'll let you know what is happening there. The Fayetteville con is going to be really cool. The Durham one was going to be really good too. Like I said, Liefeld is going to be there along with other stuff. And I've always, I ran into some really good finds, some pops. I got 2 original G.I. Joes and the Cobra Ferret ATV all from 1985, 86 for $17 for all 3 of them at the Greensboro Con, which is crazy to think about.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff going on there.
Awesome. Well, as for myself, you can follow me at Stiznarchy on Twitter. You can follow the source material source material Facebook page, you can go to Facebook, just type in hashtag source material. I guarantee you'll find something at Source Matt Cast.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
I'm telling you what, I don't understand. I think I slept good today. I didn't get up till like 8, which is good. That's not too early for me. But man, that's just like I cannot think.
Stepping all over your
I just can't do it.
Outro there.
Yeah, dude. I just can't think straight. Anyway, at Source Matt Cast on Twitter. Listen, we did a podcast last week. However, it was not source material. It was me and Joel Gant who brought you the remix recap, where finally, after 16 throwdown for the pounds, I decided I'm going to do a podcast and talk about the results. And
man, I was so mad at myself for double booking myself at the con and remix. And I had a blast at the con, but I missed remix so much.
Yeah, dude, you would have had a really good time. I mean, shoot, most of the people I usually go with didn't even go.
Weren't there.
They weren't there. You, Teasley, or Stephen Marsh weren't there.
Yeah, what's up with the
couple, but that's all right. We had a good time. Like I said, the triple threat tag match was probably one of the best matches I think I've ever seen in Remix Pro history. And
I've heard that.
Yeah, it was something else. And then of course, oh dude, I don't know if you listened to the podcast, but I did.
Mega Flowers broke up.
I did some editing. Oh man, I had fun because it was so. It was messed up. Me and Joel did the podcast Monday night, and then Tuesday, as I'm editing, the Mega Plowers break up. So I'm like, okay, well, I've got to bust in with an update. So sure enough, I busted in there and updated.
Did they have heat at Remix?
Did they have a falling out?
Yeah.
No falling out at Remix, from what I saw. So it was apparently. Well, you saw the IWC.
Yeah, he kicked Jock kicked Magnum CK in the
groin.
Baby Maker.
That's right. Yeah, they were. I don't know when that happened. That could have happened like maybe a week or two prior to, but yeah, they were fine. You know, they tagged at the match. They weren't like getting in each other's faces or anything like that. And then of course, Magnum went through table, but we had a good time. You know, me and Joel had a good time talking about it.
Now it was a 6-man tag on that, right?
Triple threat tag match. There were 6 people involved.
I'm thinking about the Riot match.
Oh, the Riot match. Yeah, that was a 4-way ladder match.
Yeah, I heard that was incredible as well.
That was pretty good. Yeah, between Jason Gorey, Jason Gorey can take some punishment. Yeah, he can take some punishment. I watched Aaron Draven dive through the ropes into a chair shot, which was amazing. You heard it echo over the crowd's cheers. And
man,
that was crazy. Jack Pollock, and of course the one, the only Marion Fontaine, who always puts
incredible.
On a show. Yeah, always puts on a show.
Yeah,
and it was a good match to watch. I would highly advise anybody who wants to check it out, get a copy of the DVD, because it was worth $15 just to watch the triple threat tag. Yeah. And I'll put Remix over anytime I get a chance, but I am legitimately telling you the truth that it was that good. It was the
Plowers, and it was Swoggle and
Colt Cabana,
and then it was Bubba Ray
and Grado.
And Grado, that's right. Yeah, Grado.
First time Grado made his way into Remix, I was floored at how entertained I was when he was in the ring.
Like a Prayer?
Oh, ridiculous. But it was
into
fun.
Madonna's Like a Prayer, and it's just one of the greatest entrances I've ever seen in my life.
It was, dude. It was tremendous. So, yeah, you guys get a chance, go check that out. That took the place of source material this past Monday. But prior to that, what did we do? I don't know if we did a what if or what exactly we did prior to that. I know we did what if. I know we did what if. No, trust me. I'm good enough to remember something 2 days from now. So 2 weeks from this point, I have no idea. I just know we had a good time talking about a what if Peter Parker. That was what if Uncle Ben had lived instead of Aunt May. When you remember Aunt May getting shot instead.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about that, but we got the Inhumans. We're at over 130 episodes, folks. Go back and check them out. Other than that,
a lot of politics in the Inhumans.
Yes, there was. My goodness.
A lot of politicking.
Go give the Rattleitch Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like. We have all sorts of great podcast material out there. We talk about metal. We just had a great time. Me and Mark Rattleitch had a great time discussing Prophets of Rage and their issues apparently with drones, which makes I don't know why in the world drones have to appear in like 3 or 4 of their songs. One of the songs is nothing but about drones. So anyway, yeah, we had a good time.
Are they talking about like a metaphor of a drone?
We are talking about the drones that are flying. They fly up in the sky. Okay?
Not like drones that they use for war.
It's military drones to spy on you. And it's complete paranoia. Ronnie Adams, it is paranoia. It's amazing. Well,
I thought they were talking about like the drones that like my next door neighbor uses and flies over my house.
You know, at first I got the impression, but I'm fairly certain. Listen, one of the songs is called "Take Me Higher," okay? And
Creed?
No.
Oh,
they are discussing at the beginning. They are discussing. Somebody's talking to Chuck D, and he says, "Hey, is that a drone up in the sky?" And Chuck D's like, "Oh yeah, they fly over. Now, I had issue with the fact that that's actually not a response. At what point do you look at somebody and tell them yes? Instead of saying yes, that's a drone, you just repeat what exactly it does. Like, is that a dog over there? Yes, it barks loud. It barks loud. I mean,
that's brilliant.
I was like, dude,
Holy
what?
Crap.
But yeah, the whole song was about drones up in the sky, like spying on you and stuff. And they had issue with that. But me and Mark Radulich had a fun time discussing that one.
It's like you want to be political, but you're not smart enough to be political.
Do you know who the members of Prophets of Rage are? Would you like me to break it down for you, sir?
Well, one of them is Chuck D from Public
Enemy.
Right?
That's correct. There's I think it's the drummer and the guitarist, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine.
Well, there's your politics.
Yep. Well, it's not like Public Enemies ever shied away from politics either.
Right. That's very true.
So you bring those two together, you got this political supergroup, but then you want to loosen things up a little bit. You know how you do that? You bring in Sin Dog from Cypress Hill.
Wow. I forgot about him being in Prophets of Rage.
You have two.
That's just utterly ridiculous.
There are two songs devoted to marijuana. One of which is called "Legalize Me," and then there was another one I think that's got some medical marijuana overtones. But not to mention that's clearly going to add to the paranoia of drones flying in the sky, watching you.
Wow.
It's
These guys, man. It was a fun
album though. I'll tell you right now though, the album is catchy. It's really good. If you like Rage Against the Machine, I think it's up there. Mark didn't have a good appreciation of the passion, but I think you go into this thing not taking it seriously. Prophets of Rage is going to be for you. Give it a shot. I'm not going to plug anything else other than just go give that Radulich and Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like. You could go on the Blog Talk Radio, just type in Radulich. You can find all our podcasts there. I did have the opportunity to go to a con myself. Ronnie went down to Greensboro.
Yep.
I stayed local. I went over to our good friends, Kapow, the Pop Cultured Podcast. I tag teamed with them and did some trivia with the audience. And I contributed very little other than just to make sure I asked everybody about their shirt. That was my gig. I decided I've got to contribute somehow. So anybody who came up and did some trivia with us, I said, explain your shirt. And we got all sorts we had shirts. We had a Doctor Who shirt. We had an Opeth shirt. We had a Rick and Morty shirt. It was just strictly the device that Rick created to slice butter. That was all, it was wonderful.
That's incredible.
Time. Oh, dude, it's a good time. Saw our good buddies from Dueling Ogres there. Well, I saw half of them. That was Remy. Got to talk with him for quite a while and hung out and had a good time at the River City Comic Con 2017. So, all right, man. Are you ready to close this son of a gun out?
I have one last thing. I had the distinct pleasure of being on a podcast while I was at the Greensboro Comic Con. It is called the Exhaust Port Podcast, where they talk about everything Star Wars. They recently have done Wake Forest Comic Con. They put up 2 episodes of that. Hopefully soon they will have the Greensboro Comic Con out. Great guys at Exhaustport. They just phenomenal job. They were very passionate about their Star Wars, and it is a very cool. It was a cool show. It was a cool experience being on there and talking to them. So
awesome! I've checked them out. See what did you say they do? I know they're a podcaster, but what are they? All Star Wars.
All Star Wars all the time.
That's a fun topic.
Yes,
all right, man. Well,
You're dang right it is, Starcher.
Sure. So, what me and you are going to get together again sometime soon. I don't know what the future brings for source material here because I don't have Mark the schedule making things for us, which is perfectly fine. I don't mind him taking a back seat and letting us figure out what we can do. So just try to keep an eye open. We'll probably be on here either next Monday with a short show, or it will be the following Monday with something actually scheduled. I know Mark Radulich has something scheduled just for your pleasure there in October, and that's when DC meets Hanna-Barbera. Is that what's going on? Where we got Space Ghost and Green Lantern and oh yeah, lots of fun. Ronnie Adams is excited.
Well, no.
All right, I'm out of here. That's Ronnie Adams. My name's Jesse Starcher. Thanks everybody for listening. Have a good one.